Yes, it is time for another episode of Is This Legal?
Yes.
Welcome back, good listener. My name's Colin McCallin. I'm one of the attorneys here, but I'm not the only attorney here. I've got another one right to the left of me. Russ, what's your name?
Russell Hebets, and I'm excited to be recording this episode.
As am I. So happy Memorial Day weekend, everybody. This is like the official kickoff to summer, it seems like. This is when the pools open.
This is when you can start wearing white again, right? Or is it you can't? Yeah, I think you start wearing white as of Memorial Day.
I thought you had to be engaged first. I thought there was a rule there. Like you can only wear white if you're engaged.
That's you can only wear white at a wedding if you don't have a baby already, I think. Is the rule.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I saw some 10-year-old boy wearing all white today, and I need to tell him, hey, not until marriage, buddy.
He was a boss.
Yeah. So anyway, hope Memorial Day weekend is great for you. Hope you get that extra day of fun in. We are going to, we got to cover some murder cases, I think.
We do.
And we're
murder involving Murdaugh.
Yeah, you remember Murdaugh.
Or Murdaugh.
Alec Murdaugh, whatever you want to call him. I always prefer Murdoch just because it sounds cooler, but I don't know. However you want to pronounce it, you know who we're talking about because this case has been everywhere for basically the last 7 or 8 years. Really, really quick, high-level reminder. Alex Murdaugh is a former attorney from South Carolina who was accused in probably the biggest high-profile South Carolina homicide case ever.
In history of South Carolina,
yeah,
I'm sure.
Involving the death of his wife and his son.
Right.
He was convicted by a South Carolina jury after a full jury trial in 2023. So this goes back 2.5 years ago, Russ.
Yep.
We're now, of course, in spring of 2026. Why are we talking about this case today?
Well, we're talking about it because his conviction just got tossed out of court.
Tossed out of court, out the window, out the door.
You are no longer a convicted murderer, Alec.
You're never seeing that case again. It's gone.
It's gonna come back. He's gonna see it again, but he's not convicted right now. And for you guys, we have done multiple podcasts on this. I think we did 3 prior ones. The most recent was episode 103.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want like details on what we're gonna be talking about, we're gonna be talking about kind of what's going on right now. And it all stems from this court clerk, Becky Hill. Episode 103 talks a lot about the allegations against her, but we'll kind of hit it top line. Like, how did this court clerk named Becky Hill end up getting his convictions after a jury trial tossed, Colin?
Well, so yeah, let's kind of talk about the 2.5 years because we planted this seed in episode 103, which again we recovered back. I think that was back in September of 2023.
And now we're reaping our crops.
Right,
like
exactly.
We planted our seed.
So back then, it was just a defense motion, okay?
Right.
Back then, the defense filed a motion for a new trial alleging that there was irreparable harm done by this court clerk, Becky Hill, that necessitated a new trial.
Jury tampering.
Exactly, and that's exactly what the attorneys for Mr. Murdaugh were alleging she did.
Right.
They were alleging that she encouraged Ms. Hill to focus on Mr. Murdaugh's facial expressions. She encouraged them to look at him as a liar, as someone who could not be trusted.
Don't be fooled by the evidence,
right.
She told them.
And these are things that a court clerk cannot do.
Yeah.
Now, so back when we covered this in episode 103, though, this was in its fledgling stages. This was a motion filed by the defense. There had been no hearings on it. Ms. Hill herself had not been charged. But let's recap, Russ. Let's talk about what Ms. Hill did and why this conviction has now been overturned because of what she did and what's been happening in the last 2 years as it relates to Ms. Hill.
Yeah, so I mean, pretty much everything that we talked about in episode 103, everything that was in that defense motion was substantiated with follow-up, right? And so then the question becomes, well, is there enough to overturn the conviction? Was this jury improperly influenced by her to the extent that it necessitates a new trial or vacating that verdict? And this went all the way up to the South Carolina Supreme Court. And in a 5-0 decision.
Unanimous.
So unanimous decision. South Carolina Supreme Court only has 5 justices. They said, absolutely, this conviction has to be thrown out. They have a great quote that the justices put out. They said, Miss Hill placed her fingers on the scales of justice, thereby denying Murdaugh his right to a fair trial by an impartial jury.
Yeah.
And Colin, remind me, did we make predictions in episode 103?
So we did make predictions in episode 103, and I actually had to go back to listen to figure out, what we said and what we got right. So again, we based that podcast episode just based on a defense motion.
Right.
But they were alleging enough conduct by this court clerk, though, that you and I both, in September of 2023, we both stated into this microphone that these convictions were going to get overturned.
Yep.
Now, one thing we also weighed in on was whether or not we would see Miss Hill get charged with anything criminally.
I don't think we need to talk about that. Do we need to go into that one?
Well, let's just quickly review what we said and what we didn't say. Of course, the listener can go back and listen themselves, but Russ here predicted that there would be no criminal trials, criminal charges.
Charges against Miss Hill.
And that did turn out to be incorrect because on May 14th, 2025, it did take a while, Russ.
Yeah.
Rebecca Hill was charged with 3 felonies, including misconduct and perjury, based on an independent investigation by the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division, who was investigating not only this case but also the original homicide case that Mr. Murdaugh was indicted in. And she pled guilty on December 8th, to just 4 months ago, 5 months ago. She pled guilty to obstruction of justice, perjury, misconduct in office. She got 3 years of probation, no jail. Yeah. But she did specifically admit that she revealed sealed court exhibits to a member of the media and then lied about it. She admitted to using her office to promote her book.
Yeah.
And by the way, how she got in trouble with this is interesting. Remember, I just mentioned a book. She wrote a tell-all book about what it's like to be a clerk in a really high-profile rural jurisdiction like this. Well, apparently she stepped in it a couple times during this book, Russ. First of all, she wrote some accounts that jurors who actually listened to the case and deliberated the case on, they said, that didn't happen, that wasn't true. They were the ones who tipped this information off to the defense team that something might be amiss.
Right, and this is so key because the defense team tried to interview these jurors before. And jurors don't have to talk to either side. They can say, hey, no comment and leave me alone if you have to, right? But after they've read the book, they're like, what? She's making me look bad here. Right. I'm going to go ahead and talk to him. So that's exactly what kind of blew this open. Yeah. This is what ultimately got the convictions thrown out and what got her put on 3 years of probation. And by the way, got her books yanked off the shelf. In addition to some plagiarism charges, right?
I was just going to say that's the funniest side to this whole thing. So, listener at home is probably like, well, she's going to cash in on her legal defense by selling a few copies of this book, right? No, her co-author, which you might, I'm assuming might be a ghostwriter, someone who wrote for her. I don't know. Maybe he didn't do a good job. He turned her in for saying that she had plagiarized whole sections of the book from a BBC News reporter's article about the case. Yeah. And so the book is no longer available. It was pulled from shelves as being plagiarized and the subject of a criminal indictment for Ms. Hill. I
mean, BBC's a well-written organization. I mean, if you're going to plagiarize from someone, it may as well be, the BBC.
Exactly. So anyway, all of these things basically happened near the same time. Just a few days ago, on May 13th, 2026, the South Carolina Supreme Court ruled that Mr. Murdaugh gets a new trial based on the confessions, investigation, and criminal charges facing Becky Hill. And so we are going to do the Murdaugh trial all over again, Russ.
Yeah.
Thanks to Becky Hill.
Let's dig back in. Thank you, Becky.
Yeah, appreciate that, Becky.
So both sides are already talking about this, right?
Yeah.
South Carolina Attorney General Alan Wilson, this guy.
Remember that name.
This guy indicated that he was putting the death penalty back on the table.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's a murder charge. They could have gone after the death penalty in the initial case. They declined to do that. And now he's out there saying, yeah, we can we may be going after the death penalty again.
That drew a sharp rebuke, by the way, from the defense attorney's team
As
very
it
quickly.
should have.
Yeah. Well, the defense attorney immediately said, what changed?
Right.
What changed?
Right.
Nothing changed in the last 5 years, other than there's a new prosecutor and there's going to be a new trial through no fault of Mr. Murdaugh.
Right.
And now they're actually trying to enhance the penalties. It wasn't like this situation was caused by Murdaugh, or like his decision somehow put the district attorney in a tougher position here.
Well, the murders may have been caused by Murdaugh.
What did I say?
No, you're talking about the situation with his
yes.
child being vindicated. I'm making a joke.
It's a good one. Yes, of course he is responsible for the murders he committed.
Well,
what I'm talking
because now, I mean, this
allegedly,
is
we're back to allegedly,
We're back
right?
to allegedly.
Yeah, what is I guess the nomenclature for a convicted murder, like Mr. Murdaugh? If it's not a conviction anymore, I guess we're back to allegedly.
Right, formerly convicted.
That's the phrase right there.
Convicted.
Formerly convicted. Like the conviction's still there, but it's
Right,
former.
it's former.
It's like a professor emeritus.
It's like he was like the artist formerly known as Prince.
The same thing. I mean, everybody's picking up what we're throwing down here. Where are we?
So basically,
I want to talk more about Alan Wilson. That's right.
Well, that really makes it seem like this is a vindictive prosecution.
Right. I don't like it from the standpoint that it really does look like the DA is trying to take advantage of the situation.
Right.
And look, I'm not at all defending what Alex Murdaugh is accused of doing.
Right.
What I am saying is that in a previous prosecution, this was not going to be a death penalty case. And I personally believe that the new prosecutor should give that some authority, which he apparently is not.
So why might he not be given that authority, Kyle?
Well, it turns out this prosecutor, the South Carolina Attorney General Alan Wilson, is interested in a different position. He is also running for governor right now, Russ.
And maybe he gets his name in the papers and the news a little more. Maybe he looks really tough on crime.
That's what the defense attorney is suggesting. The defense attorney is basically suggesting, okay, if you're going for the death penalty on this case, then you're not listening to your people in your office. You're listening to people who want to get you elected to governor.
Yeah, it's not a tough sell.
Yeah, but I'm just going to say, beware of these prosecutors with lofty ambitions, because we often see these Icari fly a little too close to the sun, if you will.
I had no idea that the plural of Icarus was Icari.
I made it up.
No,
It's hard to say Icaruses.
It sounds right.
Yeah,
Oh.
so you know what I'm talking
Icari.
about. So I'm just saying, Alan Wilson, watch yourself. We've on this podcast, we've talked about a lot of prosecutors who have found themselves in hot water because they go out a little too much over their skis.
Yeah.
As they say in these prosecutions. So watch out.
Yeah. So while this is pending, it's not like Alec is going to be sitting on a beach sipping Mai Tais.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's a margarita guy.
Right.
So, they have to find a beach that serves margaritas as long as it's in prison, because he's not getting out of prison.
Right. I'm pretty sure he's
Do
a
they have
pill.
a beach?
He's a pill guy.
Like they have like a stand, like a hey, you get the beach cell for
You're
a
talking
week.
like-
good behavior.
This is like-
We're gonna put an umbrella up there. We'll put some fake UV rays, get a tan.
I don't think it's like backstage at a Guns N' Roses concert. I don't think they have.
They
the
have
fake-
conjugal visits, man. Are you telling me that they
On the
can't
beach?
put sand in a beach and jail cell to give the personal the ambiance that they're sitting on a beach somewhere?
Brings a whole new meaning to sex on the beach.
What? Where did the sex come from?
Sex on the beach, the drink. that
Oh,
you're sipping on
we're
the
back to
beach.
drinks now.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
And
That's
where did sex come from? Conjugal visits. You're the one who brought that up.
What? Okay. Now we're off the rails. Do you want to bring us back on, or do you want?
Yeah, let's bring it back on. So he is serving a 40-year sentence already for financial crimes.
Yeah,
Now,
you guys remember that?
Yeah, we talked about these in past podcasts, right? So he was already convicted of well, wire fraud, bank fraud, money laundering, forgery, embezzlement, including stealing $3.4 million from the family of his former housekeeper who fell down the stairs and died.
Yeah, suspiciously.
Right,
Yeah,
suspiciously.
Yep, we talked about all that. So he's not going anywhere. He's serving his time. I don't remember if we criticized the South Carolina prosecutor for just hitting this guy with everything they could, but I'll bet they're glad they did.
Right. Because if they had just relied on the murder case, which is the biggest one, right, he might be out right now.
We've seen that before. If a person's committed crimes in multiple jurisdictions, sometimes everybody will just let the lead dog go to trial and then everything gets dismissed. But then if something happens with that case,
right, like
they're
this.
out. But this is not the case.
So, Colin, we have a lot more to talk about. We have issues that are likely to come up in the new prosecution from both sides, the perspective. We have a civil suit that was filed.
Oh, nice tease.
Yeah, thank you. So we're going to be talking about some great stuff, but I think right now is a good time to take a break and play Is This Legal?
I agree. We will be right back.
Are you ready to play Is This Legal? That was a nice baritone there.
I tried to play kind of under you. I wanted you to take the lead. I was just giving the
layered
little undernote.
I mean, it sounded great.
Yeah. You're the star. I'm the supporting cast. That's as usual. So I've got the Is This Legal hypothetical today. Here's what we got. For our new listeners, this is where we give you a fictional legal scenario, and then we're going to ask you questions about it to test your legal smarts. Okay, yeah. So here is what never actually happened, but is entertaining, hopefully, to you and your ears. Jebediah is hanging out at his shack one day, and Jumpin' Jehoshaphat comes by. Now, Jumpin' Jehoshaphat asks Jebediah for some fentanyl. Now, that's typically not Jebediah's deal. He usually only deals in moonshine bootlegging, but he actually did happen to have some fentanyl pills on hand. Business had been slow with the moonshine, so he reluctantly sold the pills to Jumpin' for some quick cash.
Okay.
Now, it turns out that Jumpin' did not want to get high, Russ. He actually was pretty depressed, and he wanted to off himself because he was in love with Myrtle, Jebediah's girlfriend, and that love was unrequited.
Ooh, Myrtle's out there breaking everyone's hearts.
Usually it's
Except
Jebediah. Well, when they're on and off again.
Right.
But she apparently she's not into Jumpin', and he was pretty despondent about that. So much so that he took those fentanyl pills home, consumed all of them, and died of an overdose.
Wait, did you just kill Jumpin' Jehoshaphat?
Well,
I mean, we need him for.
It's like a South Park kill, like Kenny at the end of each episode. He's going to come back next time.
Okay,
all right. We'll just
so,
write him back into the plot.
So it's like maybe it was an off-scene death.
Look, we as fiction writers have
we have carte blanche.
Oh, we have tons of ways we can deal with this. We'll just resurrect him next episode, and he'll be back to screwing up in no time.
There's a ghost in the machine, is what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. So this is au revoir to Jumpin'
Jehoshaphat.
It's not goodbye. But for purposes of this hypothetical, he's dead as a doornail.
Okay, perfect.
Now, Officer Cornelius arrests and charges Jebediah with distribution of a controlled substance resulting in death.
Yeah.
We've talked about that lately.
Yeah, DAs are going after that more and more.
Now, Jebediah's lawyer Myrtle and girlfriend, Jebediah's lawyer and girlfriend Myrtle, files a motion. Now, listen to this carefully. She files a motion in his case seeking to introduce the circumstances surrounding Jumpin's suicide. She wants to introduce this to the jury to establish that there was a break in causation between Jebediah's sale of the drugs to Jumpin and Jumpin's death.
Ooh.
Now, the prosecutor, the DA, objects to this, saying, no, the jury should not hear evidence of that. The suicide is irrelevant to whether or not Jebediah made this sale. All right? So the question, listener, is what should the judge do with this evidence? Should the jury, in the criminal trial for Jebediah, where he is charged with distribution of a controlled substance resulting in death, should the jury be allowed to consider the fact that Jebediah committed suicide?
Yeah, and should they allow Myrtle to argue that if he did commit suicide, that absolves Jebediah of criminal liability because that breaks that chain of causation.
Now, while you're considering your answer, Russ and I here are going to spitball ways that we could bring back Jumpin' Jehoshaphat to life before the next episode. I mean, we could say that a wizard came to Northamptonshire and granted someone's wish to bring Jumpin' back.
Okay.
And that happened.
I like that. It could be a Romeo and Juliet type thing. Like he actually took some drugs that made it seem like he was dead, but like a day later, he's actually going to be able to be revived.
Oh, okay. Who's going to revive him though?
I don't know. Someone like a new character we haven't introduced yet, and see that gets us into new characters, which is always nice.
We'll go to the storyboards on that one. Let's see. I'm running out of gas here. I don't know.
An act of God.
Okay. That's it right there.
Yeah.
Divine intervention.
Yeah.
We're just going to write God in.
Yeah.
He's going to come down.
God can do anything.
He can. And we can make him do anything. He's going to,
Just
God's going to
touch of
resurrect.
God.
He's going to make this okay. All right.
They're
We've
done.
solved our problem. Back to the hypothetical. So, should the jury consider the evidence of the suicide? Do they get to hear that Jumpin' Jehoshaphat offed himself or not? Russ, what's the answer to the question?
The answer is they do get to hear that, and that can be a break in that causation. That is straight from a recent Colorado Supreme Court case with similar circumstances.
Yeah, People v. Beverly, Colorado Supreme Court, 2025.
Yep, and Supreme Court said, yep, that is basically, it has to be unforeseeable, and for this suicide to have happened, that was unforeseeable, and it's something that Jebediah had nothing to do with. He can't have had a hand in it. Right. And as long as those two things happen in a case like this, doesn't mean that the jury will necessarily come out in Jebediah's favor, but Jebediah can argue that, hey, this was a break in it, and therefore you can't find me guilty.
Yeah, the prosecutor, conversely, they're arguing, look, there was no break-in causation. He sold fentanyl to a person, the person consumed it and died.
Right.
That's all you need to know.
Right.
That means that's it. He's guilty. Send him to prison. And what Russ is specifically saying is the judge can actually consider the suicide as it relates to Jebediah's causation.
The jury can.
Yeah, pardon me. Exactly. So that's a tricky one.
And by the way, like this drastically improves Jebediah's chances of being found not guilty in this case.
Of course.
I mean, not to spoil it, but he's probably gonna get off on this one.
Yeah, this is a very tricky legal doctrine, by the way. So if you got this one, give yourself an extra gold star. Give yourself an extra pat on the back.
Yeah, this is not a softball.
Yeah, so good on you if you got that one. This is actually something that we have to deal with. Yeah. All right, we're going to get back to our regularly scheduled programming. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. Hope you did okay on Is This Legal? We're going to get back into the Murdaugh case, the case that will never end. This case, I mean, we got at least 15 to 20 more episodes on this case before it's all going to be said and done, right?
It gives and gives.
Oh, yeah. So let's talk about, well, what's going to change, Russ? Like this, we got a new trial. I know that we're kind of in the infancy stages. We don't even have a trial date yet. What do we think is going to change in this second prosecution?
So we know some things are going to change. The judge has said, or the Court of Appeals actually said, that some of the evidence that was allowed in the initial trial was improperly admitted. Now, they didn't use that as grounds to throw out this conviction, but because they made that finding, this evidence is not going to come in the next case.
Yeah, they can make directions to remand down to the lower court and say, hey, certain evidence can come in or can't come in.
Right, exactly. And so that's going to be the evidence about Murdaugh's financial problems as a motive for the killings. So that could be significant. You lose a motive. Motive is an important part of any murder case. Right. So they're going to lose that. The prosecution is. Another thing that is very likely to come up is the venue or the ability to seat a fair and impartial jury in Colton County.
Yeah.
All right, because this is a small county, right? And everyone knows everyone, and I think they had a lot of trouble on the first trial.
That was part of the problem with that clerk knowing a lot of the jurors.
Right.
Yeah.
And so getting people who don't have a predisposed opinion, a predisposition one way or the other, is going to be very difficult.
Sure.
So the defense has already said they're likely to file a motion to change the venue. Now, we know that the judge is not going to be the same.
Yeah.
Is that right?
That's definitely new. And that's not a surprise at all. I mean, honestly, I was wondering what knowledge the judge might have had with regard to Ms. Hill.
Yeah.
I mean, this is someone who probably works directly under his employ, but whatever.
Yeah, judge is keeping his head down right now.
The old judge who presided over the first trial actually petitioned to the Supreme Court to remove him from the case, and that was granted.
Yeah.
So there is going to be a new judge that presides over this whole thing.
Yeah, and that hasn't been assigned yet. So we're going to have a new judge. We may have a new jurisdiction where we don't know if the same prosecutor is going to be trying it. Sounds like the same defense team is going to try it. And you know, on any pretrial and on any retrial, because this happens. Not in these circumstances typically, but like let's say there's a mistrial. Let's say the jury is hung. The jury can't figure out which way to go. Then the prosecution has the ability to retry the case. So when that happens, you know, we both have you had juries hung?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So we both have juries hanged.
Mostly as a prosecutor, which really sucks because then you have to try the whole thing again.
Yeah, same for defense though,
Yeah.
right? You have to try it again.
Well, a defenseman's mistrial is for the most part a win though, because you're at least staving off a conviction and you're putting the pressure back on the DA.
Right. But you still have to try it again.
Yeah.
So things that are kind of relevant to that retrial are you now have trial transcripts of all your witnesses. So these witnesses are now locked in. You know how they're going to answer these questions, and they have to answer them that way because if not, you can pull out the transcript and say, hey, Mr. XYZ, isn't it true that you answered this differently just 2.5 years ago?
Here's a quick free, is this legal? I'll throw out to our listeners right now. Quick trivia question. Russ, let's see if you know. I think you do. But let's say Alex Murdaugh did not testify in the second trial.
Yeah.
Let's say which is his right.
Yeah, because he did testify in the first.
Yeah, he did testify extensively in the first trial. Can the prosecutor or defense introduce evidence of his prior testimony in the first case in the second trial where he didn't testify?
So that testimony from the first trial would be treated as an admission by a party opponent. That is a hearsay exception. That was testimony given under oath where he had an opportunity to cross-examine or the other.
Be cross-examined.
Yeah, right. So that would be able to be admissible.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see if he testifies a second time or...
or if, yeah.
Yeah, the first time covered it.
He didn't do great the first time.
I remember he had a lot to admit to.
Yeah, so who knows how that'll be handled. But those are some of the questions that we don't know, but those are all going to come up in a new trial.
One other fun note maybe we can end on, Russ, is that Alex Murdaugh has filed a federal lawsuit against Becky Hill. Poor Becky, she's getting it from everywhere, you know. She's got criminal cases, now she's got a civil lawsuit, she's not getting her book deal. I don't know, it looks like he's trying to recover $600,000 in damages. I assume presumably most of that's attorney's fees.
Yeah, those are attorney's fees, and he's asking for compensatory and punitive, so I think he's asking for more than that. But
I'll be honest, I think he has a case here, Russ. If I were Ms. Hill, I'm not saying I feel sorry for Alex Murdaugh at all, but any criminal that had to withstand what Ms. Hill did in their case, it's a problem.
Here's the question: like, she's a county clerk, and her book just fell off. Like, she didn't make the millions she was supposed to make.
She can't rub two nickels together.
I would be surprised if she has an extra $1 million sitting in her bank account that she can pay this out with. Yeah. But I mean, I agree with you. I feel like he's got a cause of action here.
Yeah, he does. So predictions, Russ. We get to make predictions since we know that Alec is going to get another trial here.
Yep.
Is Alex Murdaugh going to be convicted of anything the second time around?
Yes. I think he's going down again.
Yeah.
I think had Becky just shut her mouth and acted appropriately for her position, they would have come back with the same outcome. Maybe not in 2 hours, right?
I think it was a really quick verdict.
It was so quick for a 6-week trial.
Yeah, that was lightning fast.
Lightning. Well, that happens when you don't give them bathroom breaks. By the way, do you know why she was rushing them like that? She had an appearance on a morning news show the next morning, and she wanted to have the verdict in before she appeared.
I didn't know the bathroom break thing. She was
I made that up.
Oh.
She did not. She failed to give them smoke breaks, and she told them what else? She did something else that sped it up that I'm blanking on.
I know of a court reporter who, and I'm not going to mention his name, but he told me that a long time ago in a courthouse here in Colorado, when a jury was deliberating for really long periods of time, they would turn up the heat in the jury room.
No way.
They would turn it way up to 80 degrees, and that's all they would do. And without fail, a verdict would be reached within a half hour to an hour. I am not condoning that. I am not saying it's right. I'm not going to mention any names. I'm just saying it's an interesting story, and I thought it was funny.
And it'd be interesting to know, if it leaned one way or the other with that. If that was more likely for a verdict for the prosecution, or an acquittal.
Who knows?
Yeah, that's. I'd never heard of that.
I don't think that's misconduct. Maybe. Do you think that's illegal?
I feel
I'm just curious. It's close, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like that is.
It's not direct tampering. You're not influencing one way or the other.
Right, that's the issue, right? I think you are influencing them. It's just not one way or the other, but there's been no studies on it. So maybe I think that would be misconduct.
I'd find him not guilty.
Yeah,
that's what
all
I'd
right,
say.
so that's our first prediction. So I think, did you say what you thought?
I don't know if I did. I'll say he goes down again.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. He's gonna get convicted.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's that. Time to move on. Right. Ready for a dumb criminal?
Let's talk some dumb criminals.
All right. It is time for
DCOTW,
the dumb criminal of the week.
Colin, today we are going to Montgomery, New York.
Montgomery, New York.
Okay. A gentleman by the name of Antone Gliona.
That doesn't sound made up.
No, that's his real name.
Okay.
Yeah, Antone Gliona.
Sometimes we make up names, as our listeners know, but okay.
Not this time.
Okay, great.
We're shaming Antone right to his face if he is a fan.
Or his ears.
Right, depending if he's watching or listening. And this one, Colin, I want to give a shout out. This is from one of our listeners in Glendora, California. Our listener sent this one in.
Thank you.
It is a great
Thank you,
one.
Glendora.
Yep, thank you. So, Mr. Gliona was hanging out on a Saturday night, Colin, when he got a call from a friend, and it was not a good call.
Oh, okay.
He had been arrested for DUI. He was at the police station, and he needed a ride home. So, always willing to help, Mr. Gliona hopped in his car and headed to the station to pick him up.
Nice friend.
Yep. Good friend. When he got to the sheriff's office, instead of parking in the public parking lot, he somehow managed to drive himself into the restricted area of the station.
Huh.
So, should have been tipped off that it was only cop cars there.
Yeah. Or
was him.
maybe the big chain link fence with the barbed wire. I don't know.
Any of those, but that caught the attention of the sheriff's deputies who were there, and they came out to talk to him, and they realized that he seemed a bit drunk.
Oh.
And so he agreed to do standard roadside maneuvers, and predictably he failed them. They also checked his license and saw that he actually did not have a valid license. Any guesses as to why?
DUI?
Yeah, previous DUI. So they went ahead and arrested him and charged him with DUI and aggravated driving without a license.
No good deed goes unpunished for us. All right, we've seen it a million times. I mean, the guy goes to jail to pick up one DUI and accidentally gets himself a matching set.
Colin, this friendship was so toxic. Even the designated driver needed a designated driver.
toxic, more like intoxicated. Jeez, that's a good one, Russ. That's a good one. Pretty stupid, and without a license to boot.
Without a license to boot. Like, even if he had been sober, he probably would have gotten charged.
Like, generally when you're going to the jail to pick someone up, it's the first thing they ask you for. Your ID, usually.
Right.
Can I just get your ID?
Universally.
Yeah. Oh, so, wow, that's. All right. Definitely not giving him a 5 because I do feel like he should be recognized for his altruistic nature.
I agree.
Like the guy was like, maybe he even knew he was drunk and he's like, you know what, my buddy is in there.
He needs help.
I'm going to risk it. I'm going to go for it. So you're a great friend. Antone, this is no judgment on you as a person. It is judgment on you as a criminal, though, and for that I've got to give you a 4.
Yeah, it is a judgment on your intelligence.
Yes.
And you come up dumb on the intelligence scale.
That's when you say, friend, ride it out in the drunk tank. You're going to be out in 12 hours, and we'll go have a few beers and talk about how terrible it is tomorrow night.
Right.
We'll go reenact the crime.
Or I'll call another friend, or just something else.
Yeah.
I give him a 4 as well,
Okay.
for the same reason. So 8 for you. You're not the dumbest criminal we have, Antone.
Yeah.
But you're up there.
Yeah, you are. All right, so I think we'll call that a podcast.
I think
everybody wants to get their Memorial Day weekend kicked off, and they don't want to listen to this, do they?
And hey, we.
Well, maybe they do.
They probably do.
Yeah,
but,
never mind. Keep listening.
Yeah, listen while you're on your way to the beach, if you live near the beach, to the mountains.
Or if you're in jail and they're letting you have one of those cool beach cells that we were talking about earlier.
Conjugal beaches.
If they're marching you down cell block A to the conjugal beach area, you've got a good weekend planned. Good job for you for the good behavior.
Handing them a sex on the beach on their way to your sex on the beach.
The jokes write themselves, folks.
They really do. Hey, if anyone has a friend or a family member who has a pending criminal case in Colorado, give us a call.
Yeah.
We're used to handling these. If you have any comments, any ideas on future episodes, check us out. We're on all the socials. Most of them are Is This Legal Pod, Hebets McCallin, or you can email us directly at denvercrimelaw@gmail.com.
Absolutely. And unless you got anything else, I think we'll call that episode.
Nope. Be safe, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.